2 of the series by a score of 6-4, and it was only poetic that you were going to win the 4th game of the series 6-4 and get the split against the Giants. Hi everyone, my name is Jason Joseph. This is Play by Play with JJ. This is the post-game show. You're tuning on in the Phillies post-game show. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button as well. And turn on those notification bell icons. And that way you'll know when we go live for Phillies, Sixers, and Eagles games. And yeah. So, calling into the show, if you guys want to, the number is 610-314-0844. You can also come on Discord. You're just going to have to wait a few minutes because there's some things that I want to get off my chest. And I just want to talk about it. I do. Yeah. So they got the win. They did enough in that first inning. They really only got one hit after that first inning. And, well, it was good enough for them to get the job done. Okay? And I'm not fully happy with this team right now, but I'm happy that they got the win, and I can be satisfied with that. They did what I asked them to do, which was the very bare minimum. Okay? This is like when you tell when you have a kid and you tell them, all right, I asked you to go do, to go clean the dishes, and you did that, but also, I would have been more happier if you did the dishes, the silverware, and the glasses, you know what I'm saying? Like that, I would have been like, all right, really, really good job. But you did the bare minimum. And so, all right, you did it. Nice. But, going out of your way to do the other stuff, yeah, I'll be very, very happy with that. The Phillies did not go out of their way during this whole series. And yes, the Giants are a very good team. The Giants play very good baseball, but the Phillies had defensive woes, and that actually continued the show today. I don't want this win to sweep what happened under the carpet, the bad things that happened. Okay, but I'm going to start off with the negatives first, and then we'll get to the positives. Okay? My negative today was Trey Turner's defense. First of all, the thing that is sort of glaring to me is in that 9th inning when Jung-Hoo Lee had that infield single, the ball took a high bounce, and Turner was running in towards home plate. He tried to come on in, put the glove down, and he didn't put it down low enough, and it went underneath his glove. And thank goodness Stott was there to back him up, because that could have been 2. Because that gets into the outfield, and, well, that changes the scenario. So he had a couple of really bad plays. There was also a ground ball that was hit by Heliot Ramos in that 7th inning. It was a routine ground ball, and he just couldn't get the glove down. And Chapman hit the 2-run homer in the next at-bat, and thank goodness that didn't come back to bite the Phillies. But it's those types of mistakes that can really provide a team with momentum. And the Giants are going to capitalize on you if you give them blood to smell. And so I was really disappointed with just the execution on his defense today. And that sort of leads me to this. Okay, we talk about the players individually from a defensive side, but you know what I never hear? You know whose name I never hear? I never hear Bobby Dickerson's name. I'm wondering if Trey, who continues to make mistakes over at shortstop, and Bohm continues to make mistakes over at third base, I wonder if we should be putting blame on Bobby Dickerson as our infield coach too. Just from defensive alignments and just from fundamentals that they're not practicing. I don't know. I wanted to bring up that point because I think it's fair for us to question if this defense would be better if we had an infield coach that could get them in better positions to field ground balls. Or is it just all on the players? It could be a mixture of both. But I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't really have any evidence to back it up. I do see sometimes, like when I'm watching Bohm shift, when there's a righty up to bat, Bohm tends to play more away from the third base line, when there's runners over at first and second. I saw that the other day, and I was a little bit confused as to why that was. So I just think that that's something to sort of bear in mind when you're thinking about the infield and that type of stuff. So I just wanted to bring that up. Just keep an eye on that. But Trey's defense was really bad today. He had a couple of really bad plays that he made over at shortstop. He also had the E6 to Diaz as well. That was back in the fifth inning. I didn't get to talk about that, and well, thank goodness Huff grounded into that double play that Trey was able to make up for. But yeah, 3 bad mistakes at shortstop today by Trey Turner. That was my first negative. My second negative that I had today was the offense. I thought that the offense, besides that first inning, thought that our offense was the same. We didn't change our philosophy against Jordan Hicks. I figured that as the day was going to go on, we were going to struggle with the shadows, and we did. And the players just could not execute. It took us, we only got 1 hit afterwards. This team is walking more. I want to bring up a point that I heard on Broads' cast the other day, and I've noticed that they're taking more walks. And he's right. Sometimes I think that they're cutting down on their chase for the most part, but I think that they're being way too passive now at some points rather than you would want them to be. They need to be more aggressive when it comes to situational hitting. Okay, you can't just let these balls go by. You also can't be chasing after pitches that are 5 feet off the plate. There's a balance in that goes into it. So I don't think that when I'm watching them at the plate and they're trying to go through situational hitting and there's runners in scoring position, sometimes I'm watching guys take way too many pitches. And then other times I'm watching them just swing and miss at bad pitches. And they're sort of left guessing. And I don't like that. And that's something that I do think can come around. I don't know. I don't have any proof that it will, but it's just something to sort of keep your eye on. I thought this hitting today was not good because, again, they had 1 hit after that first inning. They did. So I'm not satisfied with their hitting as a whole. Sosa did have the sac fly. And again, I said that I get to the positives in just a little bit. Alvarado's meatball that he gave up during the middle of that 9th inning, not a good pitch. Should have went slider down low and outside, but left a fastball hanging out over the middle. And Howard Fitzgerald was able to get a piece of it. And that was the only damage that was done. But Alvarado, I like him as a reliever, and I think that out of all the options, he's the best option for us as a closer. If we had another guy like a Mason Miller, Alvarado's not the closer. But I've been saying that he is the closer for this team right now because I think he's the best pitcher that we have. Some would say Matt Strahm is. I wouldn't disagree with you there. But I just think that Alvarado, I trust him more in higher level spots. As bad as this sounds, even though I know Strahm was really good last year, I trust Alvarado this year more in higher leverage spots. But yeah, so those were my bad. And Rob's managing also, I don't want this to go under the carpet either, but going back to that 7th inning, okay? Going back to that 7th inning. When Sanchez starts pitching in that 7th inning, okay, it's 5-3. Sanchez is at 90-some pitches. 80-some, really. And somebody just has to be warming up in the bullpen. You got to get Orion warmed up then, or somebody, because it's a 2-run game, and God forbid he lets one go. You know? fortunately for him, after the hit by pitch for Yastrzemski, he got himself out of the inning. Swings and misses on all changeups from Huff. And then he threw 3 changeups to Koss along with that sinker. And then got Matos to ground out. Like, good for him for getting out of that. But again, just baseball awareness. Rob needs to have somebody warming up in that 7th inning. And nobody was warming up that I saw. And I thought that, again, that was bad managing. And his player bailed him out there. So, not just when they lose am I looking at a critical eye on Rob Thompson. I'm looking at that, too, when they win as well. Because, again, it shows tendencies. And there's a pattern with that. So, that's something I didn't like. I'm not being nitpicky. Because, again, if Sanchez gives up another base runner there, then we're complaining, why isn't anybody warming up in the bullpen? So I don't want us to get that swept under the carpet either. My good that I take out of today. Number 1, my MVP of the game, Christopher Sanchez. Christopher Sanchez was on a tear today. Those changeups that he threw were nasty in caps lock. Okay, I don't know if I've seen this good of a changeup from a Phillies pitcher since, I'd say, maybe Cole Hamels. Really. That pitch, the way that he executes it, and the way that it just comes out of, when he's holding the baseball, okay, it is so deceptive because you don't know as a hitter what he's going to throw. And that changeup, just from 12 to 6, just absolutely, you think it's going to flatten out, and it just goes so much more further down than you expect it to as a hitter. That is his pitch. And when he is just on with that pitch, along with the 98-mile-per-hour fastball that he has now, 96 to 98, he is a very good pitcher. A very, very good pitcher. And I said it coming into the season, I think he's going to finish in the top 5 of the Cy Young. And I still am on that. 12 strikeouts for him today, 7 innings, 4 hits allowed. He got Fitzgerald and Schmidt to strike out 3 times each. Those were half of his strikeouts right there. So he was strong. He was on a mission today and looked like he was just on a tear. The first inning was great. I wanted them to set the tone, and the Phillies listened to me. Bryson Stott, in that first inning, I thought that we really set the tone, and we came out with a spark. After the RBI single was hit by Chapman, let's also not forget, too, that Sanchez did allow the double, and then the RBI single from Matt Chapman, and Chapman had a day against him. But the Phillies had his back. The Phillies, surprisingly, in that first inning, put up some very, very good at-bats. They were all over Jordan Hicks in that inning, and I thought it was going to be an early day for him, and I am shocked that he stayed out there for 7 innings. I wanted more, but you can't get. I think that we got the most out of it today. From a Phillies perspective, with the way that they've been swinging the bat, they sort of juiced out after the end of that first inning, whether you like it or not. So Stott starts things off with a single, ahead in the count, 2-1. Hicks was falling behind in counts. He was falling behind in counts a lot in that first inning, and the Phillies saw the writing on the wall. And so they loaded the bases, and Schwarber hit the ball in play, got it right into that 4-3 spot, and gave the Phillies the lead. And then Castellanos hit a shot out over to right field. Wasn't really a big swing, but it was an RBI single. And we had 3 runs right there, and then Schwarber scores on the wild pitch, and then Bohm gets on with that triple. And I want to go back to that play because part of me thinks that Matos out in center field, I said in the moment that Bohm hit a shot. It was a beautiful swing. But when I look back at that play, should Matos have caught that ball? When I'm watching it in real time, I thought that was a tough angle. I think that he could have turned over the shoulder a little bit sooner to make that catch there, and he has to know better. Like, he has to look and see like where the wall is, and he has to adjust. Like, you got to make those adjustments, and that's not easy to teach an outfielder that type of trick. But he had to turn just a little bit earlier, and I think if he did that a little bit sooner, I think he would have caught that. But the ball just popped out of the glove, and he couldn't hang on. I thought it was a tough play. I thought that he made it a little bit tough, but I also thought that he made it a little bit tougher than it had to be. So, but that's just my personal opinion. And yeah, it was just nice to see Bohm get a result and get a good swing there. We needed that insurance run in that bottom of the 8th inning, and I was happy that Harper was aggressive in that spot because Sosa hit the ball out to right field. I don't usually like to run off of Yaz because I know that he can fire it. But Harper tagged up immediately, came running in the home plate, and that was nice base running for the Phillies. It worked out, and it was a bang. It was a good play overall. So 6-3. We got that insurance run, and we needed that. I thought that was big. Harper's walking more, I think, but I don't think that Harper is not just walking on purpose. You know what I mean? I think that Harper is actually just seeing the ball better. He had a couple of homers over the last couple of nights, and he looked good today at the plate. Schwarber had a good day. Harper and Schwarber have been doing the damage, and Casti had the RBI single. Hopefully he's okay. I know that Casti has been inconsistent. His batting average is one thing. He's the best hitter on the team, according to his batting average. But, you know, left hip problems, that's not good. So I'm hoping that he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow. I hope it wasn't just precautionary. I'm sure that we'll hear quotes from Rob Thompson when he speaks to the media. But, yeah. Besides the RBI triple by Bohm, I thought that I still don't like what I'm seeing at the plate from him. I still don't think that he's himself. That grounding into the double play there in that 4th inning was such a rally killer. After JT gets on with a walk, he's getting on top of these off-speed pitches, and he just does not look like himself at the plate. When he was driving in runs last year, he looked calm, cool, and collected. And right now, when I'm watching him bat, the stance is the same, but he's not getting the drive on the baseball that he was doing last year. And I don't know how they can work on that with him, but I think it's all mental with Alec Bohm. I think that he's really in his head. I mean, clearly he is. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, but how can we get Bohm back to being first half of Alec Bohm from last year is the question. I don't know. Yohan Rojas got on with a walk, and he also stole a base today. He also had that infield single, I think. Or no, he grounded out. He almost beat it out, though. But, yeah. JT's struggling at the plate. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. I wrote that in my book. Yeah. I don't know. I like Stott in the leadoff spot. I think that should continue to be the case. I think he's doing better in that leadoff spot, and I want him leading off. I hope that they continue to go with that. I like Stott, Trey, Bryce, and Schwarber right now is my 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm willing to ride with that for now. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. Tell me how you feel about this game. I think that meh is a very good word to describe this. Yeah, they got the win. They did what they had to do. And now you have the Marlins coming on in. The message needs to be, do not take these Marlins for granted. Okay? The Marlins, what they tend to do against us is they tend to play spoiler to us a lot because we don't take them as seriously. That's the truth. And that better not be the case this weekend. So. But yeah, calling into the show. If you want to call on in, it's Discord. You can join the Discord server by going over here. Or you can call on in 610-314-0844 is the phone number. All right, we got a phone call. I'm going to take it. Hold up 1 second. Just give me 1 sec.
Take your time.
There we go. Are we connected? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can. JJ?
Yes. Well, for some reason... Wait, hold up 1 second. Let me try it again. Can you hear me now? Oops. I think we lost him. Call back into the show for those of you, or for that person that just called on in. That person that just called in, call back to the show. Let's see. I'm always afraid to hook this up over to the Bluetooth thing. Let's go. All right, we'll go back to the live stream. Where is it? Talk to JJ. Sanchez is a dude. They won. What's going on? Phil's offense is not the subject. Okay, here we go. Yo, can you hear me?
Hello. I heard.
All right, perfect. All right, you are on the air.
Hey, JJ, first of all, you do a hell of a job. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. You're my only connection to the Phillies, so
I got you.
Keep up the great work. It's awesome. Hey, I saw an interview. I'm going to address your Alec Bohm issue about his hitting. I saw an interview with Pete Rose, not shortly before he died. You know, they're running a lot of stuff on him after his death, and
Yes.
he said that when he was facing hitting trouble during batting practice, he used to move the pitcher up about a dozen feet.
Yes.
Shortened his. He said it quickened him. It forced him to make decisions quicker. Then when he stepped out onto the playing field, it felt like he had all day to swing. I mean, these are routine, basic stuff. And because
Yes.
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, I can't go to the bank and see batting practice, but. I mean, are things as simple as that, as trying?
Yeah, I personally think that we have gotten to the point now where analytics really have taken over the sport, and I'm curious as to like when they're trying to execute things during batting practice. I mean, I'm not able to see what goes on in batting practice, and that's unfortunate for me. But I wonder if there's a correlation to what types of pitches they're throwing in batting practice and then what types of things that they're seeing in the live games.
Oh, that's a great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? This is the kind of talk I relish because, you know, a lot of times we like to, you know, kind of take these broad brush issues of, well, this isn't getting and that isn't. But let's face it, they're hitting. What have they got? In a three-way tie for 11th.
Yes.
They got one guy hitting over 300.
Yep.
They're just not getting the runs in when they're getting on base. And Pete, in that same interview, Pete Rose indicated that when his son was playing ball, his son went like 0 for 32. And he called his dad and he said, "Dad, what am I doing wrong?" And he goes, "You have to talk to somebody else. I've never been 0 for 32 in my life."
Yeah.
And then he went on to talk about how moving the pitcher up, you know, batting practice by 12 foot, you know, whether it's inside in the batting cage or out in batting practice, he said it kept him sharp.
Right.
I don't know, you know, is it? You just want. I like your point about yes, it's gotten so analytical, but
Yes.
have the fundamentals and Is all that gone now?
I think some of it is. I really do. I'm not seeing a lot of times now even when there's situational or when there's runners in scoring position, I've been noticing more that they've been cutting down on the chase rate, but that's because they're just taking pitches and there's no strategy behind that. Like you can't have it both ways. You can't just be taking pitches that are just right there, and you also can't be chasing after pitches either. It's like two extremes.
The chasing is out of control.
Yes. So I don't like that.
And how do you fix it? We all like to think it, but maybe Pete Rose, who he had a little success behind the plate.
Yeah, just a little success.
Yeah. If you take your pitcher,
yeah,
and you move him up 1,000 feet in practice,
yep,
it's kind of like the same theory. If you've ever gone golfing and you go into a practice green, have you ever seen the little teeny holes they use?
Yes. Yep.
That way, when you step out on the course, you feel like you're aiming in a bucket.
Yep.
It's kind of the same theory.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't want to go on, JJ. You're the king. I mean, I love what you do. You're my only connection to my beloved Phillies here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh,
keep up the great work.
I appreciate it. What was your name again, if you don't mind me asking?
Jeff from Louisville.
Jeff, thank you so much. I appreciate you very, very much. Come on anytime. Anytime, man.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. Have a good one. All right. Shout out to Jeff. Yeah, he brought up really, really good points. They definitely need to be working on their situational hitting, and I liked the point that he brought up about Pete Rose's son. That was really interesting, for sure. I don't get it. The one thing that batting cages don't teach is they throw pitches that are right. I'm not saying that they just use batting cages, but there's different types of pitches that you got to see. There's different conditions out there, and I don't think that they practice those things, or that they don't take those things into consideration. And so that's a problem. That really is a problem. If you guys want to call in during the future, you're more than welcome to do so. 610-314-0844. And, yeah. All right, I think that's going to be it for me. I will see you all tomorrow night. We got Phillies versus Marlins. The redirect that we have tonight is to BW, Orioles Bird Watcher. And, I hope to see you all very, very soon. Laila Tov, good night. Catch you all on the next one.